Man, I hate using Opera as a browser. It does a lot of bad things. Like, for example, now it crashed. I didn't have this problem with other browsers before. Usually, other browsers just try to get into my privacy business. Like, they try to stalk me. Everything I do, everywhere I go, the browser is interested in my private information. But Opera, no, it's on a different scale. It just wants to not work. So, how's it going, guys? Why do I post Cringe? Because Cringe exists, and if I don't post it, who will? If not today, then when? The Cringe requires posting. Oh god. Yeah, I want you to ignore my cat meowing. It's in heat again. Honestly, cats, they're single mothers, and even when they have kittens, they still go in heat. Horrible parents. That's why kittens are so destructive. So, maybe I can ask Dick Hammer to give me his cat. I think he has a male cat. I wish there was a condom for cats. That would be a great invention. Because I don't mind, like, getting my cat to a tomcat right now, but it can't have kittens. It's too early. Apparently, the safety is to have 3 kittens every 2 years. So 3 litters every 2 years. More than that jeopardizes the health of the cat. So even if it's horny, I will not fulfill its desires. All right. Meow. Yes. So if you hear meowing, I want you guys to ignore it. Let's talk about the news more quickly today. Don't have time for anything else. One of the things I really hate about corporations, like this is something that I really find it cringe, is when corporations put this black and white statement, which is so vapid, my god. I wonder if it actually resonates with people. Like, if there's someone that reads something like this and goes like, oh my god, this is legitimately what the corporation is doing, rather than, yeah, this is probably some PR lady scrapping something up for the public. So, apparently, Bungie got bought by Sony, so we're going to see cancer coming from there. Now, Bungie says that the potential for our universes is unlimited. Wow, no shit. You know, I'm so glad the corporation tells me that the imagination is unlimited, because that's what they're meaning, right? Like, what is their universes? It's someone imagining things. It's storytelling, and it's unlimited. Oh, I am so glad the corporation told me this. I would not have known. Our future games will take bold steps into unexplored spaces for Bungie, continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, and will always be built on a foundation of creating meaningful, lifelong friendships and memories. When has it been in the past couple of years that a AAA company actually did something which is quote unquote pushing the boundaries? I remember that there used to be a time when you would have games like Crysis and they would push the boundaries for graphics and you would play the game and it would blow your mind. We don't even get that anymore. So I'm not asking about like coming up with something revolutionary, like a game which has like a completely new different type of gameplay. You know, like the first time Doom came out, it actually created the first-person shooter genre. It was like Doom games. Or the first time Baldur's Gate came out and revolutionized RPGs, or the first time Warcraft 3 came out. Like, think about it. Warcraft 3 was a strategy game with RPG elements. Never been done up till that point. Not so well, anyway. So, the era of, like, Uncharted, creating something new, pushing the boundaries is over. I don't think we're going to see a game which pushes boundaries anytime soon. The Witcher 3. I mean, you know, it didn't push boundaries, but it created something, like it perfected something that already existed. So no, I don't expect that AAA companies are going to push any boundaries anytime soon. There's not going to be something wow coming from these places. It's going to be generic shit. That's pretty much what they do, generic shit. If they do it at all, like that's another problem. Like it used to be, I look back making a video about older games, and you used to have 5, 6, 7 games a month. I'm not even kidding. Like every month there would be new games, and would be like AAA games for the time, and they would be really innovative and really cool. Shut the fuck up, cat. But now it's genetic shit. And not only that, it doesn't even come out that often. I mean, this month, there were no games. Next month, you do have some games. And by the way, this is also due to the mobile gaming scene. A lot of companies, they like to make mobile games because they make more money off of it. It's also because of DLC. Even if you don't buy DLC, you get a lot of investment into making more DLC. So the company focuses on making DLC rather than making an actual game. It is what it is. And this bullshit, it's like, we're creating meaningful lifelong friendships. Dude, I don't care what your employees are doing. I don't care if your employees are making friends with... What the fuck? Why do I, the customer, care if the work environment at Bungie is creating friendships and whatnot, meaningful friendships? Okay, great. Do that on your hiring application. Or do they mean like me making friends while playing their games? Like if that's the case, that's not something that a company can do. Like a company can't force people to become friends with each other. Like the company puts on the game. You know what? Give me a second. I need to lock the cat into horny prison. Just 1 second. Come here, you bitch. Wait, I'm gonna lock you up. Shouldn't have called my cat a bitch. It's not a dog. But it was in heat, so it is what it is. Anyway. The company makes the game. And then the people playing it can become friends or not. Like, there is no way. I mean, how do you program a game which makes people become friends? How do you do that? Realistically speaking, there is no way. We remain in charge of our destiny. Oh my god, did you get what they did there? Because they have a game Destiny. We will continue to independently publish and creatively develop our game. Yeah, this is what Blizzard said when Activision bought it. Do you guys remember? When Blizzard got bought by Activision? Oh yeah, we totally remain independent and blah blah blah. Until they managed to lose a couple of dollars. Until they went a little bit in the red. They dipped into the red and Activision stepped in immediately. Our games will continue to be what our community is. What, like your community regulated by terms of service and thought policing and stalking them of their privacy and whatnot. Okay. With CE's support, the most immediate change you will see is an acceleration in hiring talent across the entire studio. Hire some of those Blizzard people from the Bill Cosby suit. I mean, they're quite talented, by the way. Just make sure you don't put them next to women. But other than that, like, make a department just for men and put the Blizzard Bill Cosby suit guys there. They're really talented. They make good games. If this speaks to you and you want to help us put a dent in the universe, we are hiding. Oh, so they were hiding. I shouldn't have made fun about the lifelong commitments. Okay. All right. Great. I'll tell you what I think about this. I don't mind that Sony is buying Bungie. Okay, whatever. The problem that I have is that you notice the centralization of all the AAA gaming companies. It's the Mickey Mouse of the video gaming world. Like, it's the same with the movies. They centralized in the hands of a couple of corporations. Disney is buying everything. Like, Disney bought Marvel. Disney bought 21st Century Fox, if I'm not mistaken. So it keeps buying stuff, right? I mean, the Disney conglomerate is huge. It's like an empire. And this is the problem with video games. There's no competition. So this is what I'm worried. Like, you're going to have a couple of platforms, 2, maybe 3 companies, and that's it. Sad. yeah, everything sanitized, everything corporate, nothing edgy. You're not going to get games like Postal anymore, that's for sure. You're not going to get anything like GTA used to be. I mean, they're planning on making GTA again, and they want to remove the transgender hookers. I think that there were some transgender in the game. They were making fun of transgender. They want to remove that because a game like GTA is not supposed to be offensive. It's not. It's not a laughing matter. GTA the game. Remember, GTA came out in a time where Christianity had a very strong grasp over the American culture. And when you started GTA 2, the first thing they would say is when you went into a church in GTA 2 would be like, no donation, no salvation. So they were making fun of churches. It's like, if you don't donate money, you don't get salvation. And that was GTA back then. It was edgy. Now, doesn't want to even have transgenders in it because you can't make fun. So yeah, not very inclusive. Do you think Nintendo will buy someone? So Nintendo, surprisingly, like this is what shocks me. Nintendo is not woke at all and is not trying to be woke. So I don't know. I'm actually worried about Nintendo buying someone because when you buy these companies, you buy the wokeness within them. So there used to be this big event about how games should be political, and everyone is like trying to push politics in games. And you even had actual developers which were stunning the people at the time, saying games don't have to be fun, right? Like you don't make games for fun. You make games to educate people. And the boss of Nintendo, he came out and he said, "No, we just make games for fun. We don't have political messages." I remember, I think it was a presentation. I forgot which one. It was at E3, but not the last year. I think it was like before COVID anyway. And you had all of these companies, like you had Ubisoft, and they had like a furry thing. They had a furry dancing. It looked like an LGBT rally. I mean, let me show you guys. I think you guys remember. I don't care if you can hear the volume or not, but I don't know if you can hear the volume, right? But this is Ubisoft, right? So I don't know if you guys remember this, but as you can see, it looks like an LGBT parade. There's literally nothing about games. I mean, this doesn't tell me anything about games. And look, you got like the soy people. Like there's even the soy people here. Look. Don't get me wrong, I mean the music and the sound is really catchy and cool. I don't mind. But it's like, this is a gaming convention, right? So you had this event and all of the companies, they were trying to outwoke each other, and all of them made absolutely sure that they don't use the word gamer. They kept saying customer, consumer, 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 customer. They didn't say gamer. And then you have like, I think it was Nintendo, because it was like a very angry looking Japanese man. Right? This very angry Japanese man appears on my screen. And he says something in the line of, "We made video game for filthy gaijin to enjoy. Here is trailer from video games that we put heart and sweat in." And that was it. That was literally it. And then you have like trailer after trailer after trailer. I remember I was live streaming that presentation, and I was like really furious because they were talking so much, and they were talking and talking and talking, and like no trailers, absolutely no trailer. And then the Japanese guy who gets it, he appears and is like, "Yes, you filthy gaijin. I am better than you. I am not your friend. I am superior. I made games for filthy gaijin to enjoy. Here is trailer." And I was like, oh my god, I love this man. Everyone else was trying to be like, oh my god, yes, I'm the CEO of this multi-billion-dollar company. I'm just like you guys. I like video games just like you guys. I'm your friend. I like you. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Yes, it was my real voice. It is a cult. I gotta say it is. But at least we moved past that. You know that now there's not even trailers anymore. Now it's just, so I wonder like if Sony keeps buying all these companies. Eventually, you're just going to have like E3 convention and it's just Sony. That would be hilarious. Like E3, who's coming up? Just Sony. That's it. Oh my god. You know what would be funny? If instead of Sony buying Bungie and Activision and all of this shit, if they would actually make some PlayStation exclusives. Wouldn't that be a thing? Because right now, you have no exclusive on PS5. I mean, okay, you buy PS5 and what do you get? God of War is not an exclusive anymore. That's also on PC now. Bloodborne, yeah, Bloodborne. Okay, so you have Bloodborne, but that's not even a PS5 game. Let me think. The Last of Us 2, yay, yay. Okay, we get The Last of Us 2. I think Dragon's Crown. And maybe, I'm not even sure on this one, Final Fantasy, the remake. Really, really great time to invest in a PlayStation. What can I say? MSNBC host says Canada Truckers Convoy is a cult. Wow. That's spicy. Spicy MSNBC. Look at this. Canada Trucker Convoy is a cult. It's a religious congregation, is it? Ottawa mayor said some protesters had harassed the soup kitchen, demanding free meals because their refusal to wear masks meant they were not to order in restaurants. Oh no. Oh no. They harassed a soup kitchen. They're a menace. They need to be apprehended. Thank you, Severia Knox, for the donation. The old Bungie from 10 years ago would have been ashamed, says Uriel, right? And a lot of people would probably be ashamed of themselves if you were to show them where they ended up 10 years. I mean, if you were to have a time machine and just send newspaper articles 10 years into the past, people would be horrified. I'm not kidding. They wouldn't believe you. They would think you're joking. Like, for example, and I think I talked about this yesterday. There was a transgender who raped an underage girl. Transgender, I think, is like 25 or something. And they trialed him as a child, and they're putting him 2 years in juvie. And I'm like, oh my god, that's going to show. Going to teach her what's what. It's going to teach her. My bad, I misgendered by accident. Need to follow those terms of service. But anyway, right, so the reason they did this is because the prosecutor said that you can't... they said that transgender people have it rough in prison. So out of concern for the rapist's safety, they decided to put her in prison. There was another article, very interesting, I read a couple of days ago. It was on the Daily Mail. It said that women in sports were feeling unsafe in the locker room because their transgender colleague was showing her male penis. Yeah, like imagine sending those articles 10 years in the past. What would people say? They would be a little bit, that's interesting. You're lying to me. You're pulling my leg, right? Another article. Walt Disney changes Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs by removing the dwarves because famous actor complains. Imagine sending that into the past, huh? Like, what do you mean they're going to make Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs without the dwarves? Like, how is that a thing? I will give it $25 of buyer's remorse rate. Thank you. I click the link, and that dancing is the first thing I see. I don't know what I expected. Well, you expected cringe. You got cringe. It's actually funny, right? Because I'm going to make a video about it. So, Peter Dinklage is probably the worst actor of 2022. Unironically, hands down. And I'll tell you why. First, he goes after the fans and mocks the fans. You know, the people that made him a millionaire and made him famous. He mocks them and ridicules them. It's like, why did you expect the ending to be good? And he says that it's a show about dragons. Why do you care, you bigot? Then he complains about Snow White. Again, a show with witches and magic mirrors and all of that. You know, all of a sudden he cares. And all of a sudden he has the right to complain, right? He even uses the word fuck. So he has a right to be angry. And you don't have a right to be angry about Game of Thrones. No, because you're a bigot. You're immature. Why do you care about a show with dragons? He has a right to complain about a show with witches and magic mirrors. And then he demands that Disney doesn't have the dwarves in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I mean, he doesn't really articulate why the dwarves are bad. He just doesn't like it. And then you have actors, like other actors who were casted by Disney out of a job. Like literally, they came out and they said that they hate Peter Dinklage because they're out of a job. Now, of course, Peter Dinklage isn't going to give away his money and wealth that he made by playing in Game of Thrones. Of course not. This is a classical thing of kicking the ladder after you climb it. So, yeah, unironically, he is the worst. And what's even worse is that only the Daily Mail, from what I saw, covered the article where the other actors got fired because Disney decided not to cast the dwarves. So you have the actors upset, you know, because it's their livelihood and it was their ticket to fame. So they're really upset about what Peter Dinklage did to them. But IGN and all the prestigious publications, they don't cover that. Funny how that works. Fixed Bayonets Brothers, I'm always willing to fight the furry menace to the last man standing on the planet. If we fail, call for planetary bombardment. Yeah, I haven't actually kept touch with furries anymore. I used to have a couple of them that I would ask, it's like, what's going on in the fandom? And they would tell me, and I would be like, Jesus fucking Christ. But even the furries that I talk with, like, grew out of the furry fandom. And the ones that still are furries, like, they completely disconnected from the fandom. So, unfortunately, I don't have my furry liaisons. Like, I don't know what's going on there anymore. I've no idea. Hunk for Canada. Yeah, so I know a Canadian that actually doesn't like the restrictions. And I'm like, okay, so did you go to protest? Did you attend the protest? And he's like, no. And I'm like, why not? Because it's cold outside. And I was like, oh, I see. Famous YouTuber, by the way. Not gonna drop names. But it was very interesting. It's like, dude, you want something, right? Yes. Well, go get it. No. Why? It's cold. Well, I guess you don't want it then. It's so interesting, you know? It's like, imagine like you're a black person. And you're upset about the police. And someone asks you, like, did you go to the BLM route? No. Why? It's cold. Okay. I guess you're not that upset. Yeah. I mean, you don't want it hard enough. You want to scan the QR code. Okay. Baby, it's cold outside. Yes, exactly. Baby, it's cold outside. That is so good. Baby, it's cold outside. Justin Trudeau made a very interesting declaration. This is actually going to be in This Week is Stupid. He said, and I quote, "The trucker convoy crowd have hateful rhetoric. He rather prefers to attend BLM protests." I'm not kidding. He actually said this. How does he know they have hateful rhetoric? Did he even talk to them? Talk to them, Trudeau. Talk to them. They're your people. They're your citizens. Speak to them. Communicate. I mean, nothing gets people to calm down than when you're not paying attention to them. It's whatever. Most of the BLM rioters were not black. That is actually true. And from what I saw in the media, most of them, like in the cities that suffered the most damage, like in Kenosha, most of them weren't even from Kenosha. Like we saw it with Kyle Rittenhouse. Most of the, I think all of the 3 people there weren't from Kenosha. Like they came from, they usually came from Portland and other progressive cities. But yeah, so it was Antifa, like white people putting on hoods and going into other cities in order to create chaos and harm. Because you would see, like, if you watched, especially if Fox News would show this, because obviously you wouldn't see this on CNN. But you see, like, a black person complaining, it's like, oh my god, this is my community, and they destroyed everything. And they were people from out of town that did this. Like, we didn't recognize them. They weren't part of our community, and blah. And this was a story that repeated night after night after night. So, yeah, you're right. There were, like, some, obviously, there were people from that community that would take advantage of the chaos. So, for example, and this doesn't surprise because it happens everywhere. Like even in Romania, when we had riots, we still had looters. You have like people that are very poor or from the hood, and it's like, okay, well, if there's a riot, then no one will notice if we go in and take some televisions. So those aren't even like politically oriented people. They're just taking advantage of the chaos. Those are the same people that would take advantage if there's a hurricane, if there's a flood, if there's like, okay, it happens everywhere. Like, what can you do? People do destroy communities, tactical droid, but not in such an organized fashion. Like, the destruction was astonishingly high. I think it was like some of the worst destructions in the United States. It was organized. That's why it was so effective, quote unquote. 95 viewers and the stream will be too popular. Yes, maybe YouTube can give me a warning label as well. It's like there's too many people watching this relatively new channel. So we're going to put a limit on how many people can watch it. Trudeau should participate in BLM protests with black families. Has he even attended a BLM protest? And by the way, I just want to say, it's like, how can you even compare BLM protests with the truckers in Canada? Like, the BLM protests in Canada, from what I understand, they were peaceful, number one, but number two, there's no violence from the cops in Canada, from what I can tell. Like, police officers in Canada haven't shot black people, did they? I mean, so the protests in Canada and BLM were in support of the protests in the United States. So yeah, okay, the Prime Minister supported a movement that was against the right-wing party of the United States. Okay, fine. Obviously, that's not the same like supporting something that's against the government of Canada, Like, usually people protest against the government of that nation because they're dissatisfied. Like, no one goes to protest during the winter because they're happy. Anyway, subscribe to this channel to help the creator reach a broader audience. Like, fuck me. That wasn't in Canada, droid, from what I know. Alright, listen to this. This is a very interesting news that I found from Romania. So, a pregnant New Zealand lady couldn't go back to New Zealand, So she was welcomed by the Taliban in Afghanistan. You can't make this shit up. A New Zealand journalist, which got pregnant, said that she was received by the Taliban in Afghanistan after it was impossible for her to come back to her own country because of very drastic COVID regulations. I want to say this is probably a first in the history of the world. Usually countries, they don't allow foreigners to go in. Like if you have an isolated nation, like Japan. Okay, so Japan was one of the most isolated nations in the world. But they still allow Japanese citizens to come back. Like if you run away, it's kind of like a prison. Okay, like you have countries that act like a prison. For example, North Korea. They don't allow people to leave. The borders are closed. You can't leave North Korea, right? So it's kind of like a prison. But a prison allows a prisoner to come back. So if you're like a North Korean citizen and you want to come back, they will allow you to come back. Now, sure, it's not going to be nice for you once you return, but they allow you, right? This is the first time that I have heard in the history of mankind of a country not allowing one of its citizens to return. This never happened. Like, please tell me in the comment section if you know of an example where, and I'm not talking about a person with dual citizenship, where they have like their citizenship revoked. No. Like a person with one citizenship of one nation not allowed to return. I mean, even if you have the leprosy, okay? Like even if you have leprosy, you can still return and they will put you in a quarantine camp. They will do something. They will have a facility for you in that nation where you can quarantine, but they will allow you to go into the country. Like this has never been heard before as far as I know. The idea that like someone will not be allowed to return to their own nation. Now sure, okay, fine, like there are cases where the person can't return because there's no flights or because he can't afford to pay money. Like that is something that can happen. Or maybe he doesn't have a passport to prove that he's a citizen or something like that, and it takes a while. I agree, like this can happen. But I'm telling like they can prove that they're part of the nation. They can afford to travel to the nation, but the nation doesn't allow them to go there. This is mind-boggling. I mean, even if, for example, as a Romanian, I'm always allowed to go to any Romanian embassies around the world. Like they can't kick me out. Like if I want to go in the United States and I go to a Romanian embassy, they have to let me in. Anyway, apparently this lady feels betrayed. Yeah, no fucking shit. So she says that in an open letter to New Zealand Herald, Charlotte Belly explained that she was working for Al Jazeera in Afghanistan, after which she went back to Doha, where the headquarters of the mainstream media that she worked for was situated, and realized that she's pregnant. Now, in Qatar, it is illegal to be pregnant outside of wedlock, so she kept her situation secret and was ready to return to New Zealand. However, in her country, which closed the borders in 2020 because of the pandemic, they allowed very few cases of its own citizens to come back. When realizing that she can't benefit from any exception of returning to her country, Charlotte Bellis made an appeal to the High Taliban, like the High Council of Taliban. And these allowed her to give birth in their country where she keeps working as a journalist. And she can continue living with a photo reporter, with a Belgian photo reporter. Now, I'm pretty sure, I can't see the chat, but I guess like some people blame her for being outside of wedlock. Take into account that she's from New Zealand, her boyfriend is from Belgium, and she's in Afghanistan. I mean, organizing a Christian marriage within Afghanistan might be problematic. So maybe that's why they didn't get married. I'm just saying. It's kind of difficult, okay? Like both people of a different... It's kind of like a Japanese and a South Korean trying to get married in Romania. It's possible, but it's very difficult. There's a lot of legal issues involved. So I kind of understand. So the Taliban said, we're happy for you. You can be here and you won't have any problem. When you... So, no, like, just so you can understand, all right? Like, she asks the New Zealand government for help and they say she's not welcome in their country. And the Taliban are now offering asylum to a pregnant, unmarried woman who understand that she's in a difficult situation. And this is ironic, according to her. And, of course, after the media shitstorm, Charlotte Bellis wants to rehear her case. Okay, yes. So after you ended up being a complete embarrassment, and after this woman had to go beg the Taliban to allow her to have safety, now they're like, okay, well, this looks a little bit bad for us, so we're going to... This is disgusting, man. This is absolutely disgusting. I mean, abhorrent, I would say. Hello, Yellow Flash. How's it going? Yeah, New Zealand just got BTFO'd. and take into account they have a female prime minister, right? She should be representative of the of women everywhere. That's how it works. I understand Joe Biden wants a black woman as a member of the Supreme Court. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Because, yes, I mean, isn't that how it works? Like, if a woman is prime minister, then the rights of all women are being upheld, except for this journalist. If you haven't addressed this stream, thoughts on the inevitable boxing match between Quartering, Yellow Flash, and Ethan Van Sciver. So, I think Yellow Flash at the Quartering buried the hatchet. I mean, Yellow Flash is in the comment section. You can ask him. Ethan Van Sciver and the Quartering, I think they have some grievances, which goes a long way back. I don't think this is anything to do with this particular drama. I think they're upset at each other for other issues. If I were to guess, let me see if I know the lore. When Comicsgate happened, you had two people which left the movement at the time. And the Quartering started making videos saying that, oh, look, the movement is falling apart. You have two prominent people that left and, you know, the movement is over, blah, blah, blah. And then he also said that Ethan Van Sciver isn't going to be able to make more than $500,000. You know, that was his opinion at the time. And after Ethan Van Sciver managed to make $1 million on his comic, there were a lot of people that were rubbing it in the Quartering's face. And I think that may have caused a little bit of animosity between the two. So I don't know if that's the case. I'm not sure. But I would say that might be the root of some of the drama. That's just my take. So yes. Look, Yellow Flash is good with the Quartering. At the end of the day, there's no reason to be upset because he's not doing the interview anyway. I wouldn't have been upset if he does the interview, but I wouldn't have watched it. Like, why watch something that's not confrontational? So he wanted to get the Frost Lady and have a non-confrontational segment with her. And I'm like, okay, but I already know what she thinks. Like, she hates the gaming community. She thinks they're a bunch of sexists. She stigmatized all my friends and all of my community. She stigmatized the YouTube community. She stereotyped all of us. You know, she stigmatized my wife. She stigmatized my mother. So she's a nasty person. Why would I want to listen to what she has to say? I already did. Like, I already know what she thinks. So unless you're going to be confrontational with her, then there's nothing to gain. I don't watch her on G4, so why would I watch her on the Quartering? It makes no sense. I mean, it's still the same person, it's still the same thoughts. And not to mention, like, having a prominent social justice activist on your channel in 2022 is really bad. I mean, think about it. Why didn't they want to talk in 2016? They didn't want to talk in 2016 because there was no moderation, there were no rules. You could actually say whatever you wanted. Now, in 2022, there's terms of service, which obviously benefit the social justice activists. So they can make you disavow your community, they can insult your fans, they can insult your subscribers, they can make you attack and lash out at your community. And if you say anything in return, oh, boom, violation, hate speech, sexism, blah, blah, blah. And all it takes is for a publication like the the Daily Dot, to write something like, BuzzFeed wrote about the quartering, saying that he's far right, and his entire channel got demonetized. So even if it's not true, right? All it takes is a hit piece from a mainstream media outlet, and boom, that's it. So yeah, it's not a good idea to have people like that on. As for the whole Ethan Van Sciver thing, I don't know. I mean, the drama was ridiculous anyway. To me, there's something more interesting happening in the Comicsgate community. Like I guess, I don't even know if you can call it Comicsgate, but like the comic commentators, I'm starting to think that they're becoming a little bit, like from what I heard, and this is, from behind the scenes, they may have blacklists with artists that drew lewd. Like, they don't want to associate with artists that drew lewd, which would be kind of sad, I guess, if you're an artist that draws lewd, because the left doesn't want to have you, the right doesn't want to have you, so, well, it is what it is. Come on Flashcast sometime. Sure, like, invite me and I will come there. Just contact me on Twitter, give me a link, tell me when, and I'll love to come there. Internet drama is drama. Well, drama sells, I actually used to love drama. It used to be a fun time back when it was possible to have it. It was nice, but now you can't do drama. Now you even have terms of service, which deal with creator-on-creator harassment. And it's very ambiguous because you don't know what it is. I mean, if a creator is trying to scam people and you call it out, is that creator-on-creator harassment? If you criticize another creator, is it harassment? If you just say, well, I don't want to watch his stuff, I'm not interested, is it harassment? Meh. Who knows? I guess it depends on how well connected the creator is. If the creator is very well connected, then, well, then it's harassment. If it's a random guy, then, well, it's not harassment. I think that's how it works. My handle on Twitter is @notv. I'll put it here. Not 2 underscores, by the way. All right, let's look at some other news because we got a little bit sidetracked. So look at this, you bigot. Apparently, a creator which was selling merchandise on Teespring, and this guy is from Ukraine, received a DMC takedown notice from Riot. And the only reason is because he had the word arcane in it. So apparently now Riot is taking down everything that has arcane. And they're going to lose this lawsuit because you can't copyright things that are like so popular. And like for example, arcane, it's very common, it's very popular, it means arcane magic. So just because they have a show that's called arcane, they can't copyright everything. It's kind of like having a show called God, and then you copyright everything that has the name God on it. Like, you can't do that. And you have these companies doing these overreaches, and they really do deserve to get sued into oblivion. By the way, here's another interesting thing. I really love this. Yellow Flash, what do you think? Would you buy from this lady? Please buy a house from me. I'm not built for OnlyFans. Sunset Mississippi Reality LLC. I just, when I saw this, I was like, this woman is probably the best marketer in the world. I mean, if I were to buy a house, I would definitely want to buy one from her. This is like the best way of selling that I have ever seen. It's like, please buy a house from me. I'm not built for OnlyFans. It's like, and she's casting shade at the same time. Yeah, it is the scrolls bullshit again. Yes, the scrolls bullshit part 2. Didn't someone try to copyright God at some point? I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I don't understand. Can we explain the joke? Guys, can we explain the joke to Tactical Droid, please? He's a little bit slow. He doesn't understand it. Okay, Tactical Droid, I'll explain it to you. She wants to have a normal job because she can't, like she doesn't want to demean herself doing OnlyFans. So in order for that to happen, she needs to make money doing her actual job. That's what the joke is, Tactical Droid, right? Because if she doesn't make money with her job, she's going to have to do OnlyFans. And she's afraid of doing OnlyFans. There, I explained the joke. Oh, Dios mío. Okay. This is something else that's interesting. It came out, a new word. Alright, are you guys ready for a new word? Since the title is cringe. Ridley Scott claps back at ungrateful Gucci's. I cast Italian icon Al Pacino. For better or worse, Ridley Scott's new film, House of Gucci, is a major first step forward for Italians. Italians representation. Italians. I am so glad I am not Italians, because anyone that butchers the name of my country to this degree would probably piss me off. Italians. I would probably make jokes about his madrunks if he called Romania Romanians. I would probably go, Ridley Scott, do you want me to talk bad things about your madrunks? Your madrunks? Your madrunks? Huh? Is that madrunks? How about I call you Ridley Cox? Ridley Cox. You wouldn't like that, wouldn't you? You don't appreciate it, huh? If I call you Ridley Cox. If you don't like being called Ridley Cox, why do you call Italians? What is it with this obsession of putting the X? X used to be for people who don't know how to sign. Like you would put an X instead of writing your name because you don't know how to spell it. No, seriously, every time I'm going to see Ridley Scott from now on, I'm going to call him Ridley Cox. Why not? Romanians, Moldovians. No, from now on, every single time I'm going to have to talk about Ridley, it's going to be Ridley Cox. Is it 1x or 2x's? I don't want to do 3 because then the algorithm is going to punish me. So it's French chicks. French chicks. French chicks is actually good. Wumuxen is actually a thing. Like I have seen people do Wumuxen. French chicks is actually funny because it's like French chicks. Like it kind of sounds cool, French chicks. But Wumuxen, yes, Wumuxen is Latinx. That's a classic. Which, by the way, Latinx is a slur from what I gathered. Like most people that identify as Latin don't like the word Latinx. So it is literally a slur. And you can tell, like, there is absolutely no non-far leftist that uses the word Latinx unironically. Oh my god, Germuxen. Germuxen, yes, that is great. If you look at Germany, I mean, the new progressive government, the new progressive pro-Russian government, I would say. Let's see, they want to take down all of their nuclear power plants because they missed a couple. They had, I think, 2 or 3 that were still running, so they're shutting them down to be more reliant on gas from Russia. They want 16-year-old to get the right to vote. They want everyone to be able to identify as whatever gender you want. So you go to the like you go to the government and you say, okay, I identify as a woman, and the government goes like, here's an ID card. Like that's it. Like they want to streamline the process, but at the same time they want to raise a fund from the taxpayer. They want to make money and give it to rainbow families. So if you're a rainbow family in Deutschland, the government incentivizes that, and they want to give you additional money, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, if I was in Germany, why wouldn't I change my ID card in order to get money from the government. I mean, that's literally the meta. That's how the game is played. I don't understand conservatives who are like, but yeah. Dude, like, the only thing you need to do, like, follow me, right? You're not even breaking the law. Like, you're not even doing something bad. The law says that if you identify as a woman, they recognize you as such, right? So all you have to do is to ask for an ID that has a W on it. That's it. So you become a woman, and then you file for receiving those rainbow funds. Like, it's easy money. Like, it's money that, and not to mention, it's your money, right? Like, you pay taxes, so you're just getting your taxes in return. Like, you can use that money to pay more taxes. Like, it's a self-fulfilling loop. It's like the Ouroboros streak, you know? So I generally don't understand why Germans wouldn't do that. It's, by the way, it's on the program. So they haven't implemented yet, but it's what they want to do. My God, if you look at the government in Germany, what it wants to do, the Green New Deal looks regressive as fuck. The Green New Deal from the United States, it looks like some backwards, very conservative legislation. Malicious compliance. Yes, Darrell, shout it. Don't say it out loud. Don't say the silent part out loud. Malicious compliance. I'm actually surprised that the left hasn't figured out the thing with malicious compliance, which means that the right isn't doing it enough. I identify as whatever gives me the most without me actually doing anything different. Exactly, Tomba. See, you get it. Tactical droid is being dumb. He doesn't understand malicious compliance. He's like, they want to make you comfortable with lying to yourself. Why do I make you comfortable? Oh, fuck. Is it like when you... Whatever, I don't even think I can say about this on YouTube. America cannot fight Russia at the get all the stuff from there. LOL. America cannot fight nor make a call. America doesn't want to fight the Russians. Like, what I think they want to do... America has a lot of weapons that require testing. So if Ukraine and Russia has at it, America just wants to give them some of those weapons and the tech, and they're like, hey, can you test this out for us? Can we see how effective it is? Happy Chinese New Year. Is it today? I hereby give you a Chinese pass. Please go ahead and culturally appropriate my people's festival. Isn't it the Lunar Festival? And how on earth are you on YouTube? Like, I thought Chinese people can't access YouTube. Once you get in trouble, unironically. So, wait, is it today, New Year's in China? It's on the 31st of January. Man, at least if you guys would have moved the New Year in some place that's more warm, like summer. Why did you do it in the middle of winter? That's kind of defies the point. I always wonder, like, why on earth does the New Year start in winter? Why can't it start in the summer? That would be cool. I mean, you can literally pick whatever month you want for it to be New Year, right? You can just make it on July, right? So after July is the New Year. You could have done that, but no. Sad. Honestly, don't believe we're really at odds with Russia. Probably not. But, no, I mean, you kind of are. You kind of are. You don't really... The thing with Russia is that if Russia invades Ukraine, you can also have China invading Taiwan, which is also probably one of the reasons the US doesn't want to intervene, right? Because it can't have a war on two fronts, and Taiwan is far more important than Ukraine. Oh, it's the 1st of February. Okay, I get it. Every day can be New Year. No, actually it can't. It needs to be 12 months. But you can change the name of the months. You can make July become December. You would plant crops in one year and harvest in the other? Why not? Who's to say you can't? Literally, no, unironically, New Year is a social construct. Unironically. Fight me on this one. The New Year is a social construct. It is the beginning of spring at the time to plow the field. What, January? You don't need to tinker with the sun, man. I mean, it's literally the same if you choose that the new year starts in July or it starts in January. I mean, this is arbitrary. You do realize this. It's my prep for New Year's every day. I mean, the thing is, like, if you look at science, it tells you that one day has 24 hours, give or take. And it also says that a year has 12 months. But it doesn't say at which month the new year begins. So, like, that is an arbitrary choice. You can literally make the new year begin in July. It's not based. Like, why do you want to celebrate New Year's in the middle of winter? It is the beginning of the spring season. Okay, why can't it begin at the beginning of the summer season? Like, you can have the first part of the year summer, the second is autumn, then comes winter, and that is the new year. No, sorry, winter, spring, and that is the new year. Right? So new year comes after spring. Why not? Fight me on this one. Yeah, the year is arbitrary. The seasons are fixed. I agree. 100%. So what it means is that you can have the new year come after spring. So it's summer, then you have autumn, then you have winter, then you have spring, and then you have a new year. It's completely arbitrary. You can put it whatever you want. January is in the middle of the winter. Not really. I mean, last December was kind of warm. January is kind of the beginning of the winter, if I think about it. I'm in Singapore. My family was part of the diaspora in the 30s. Oh, lucky you. I heard Singapore is actually a really great place to be. If you want more celebration when there is less to do and everything is miserable so that you get more enjoyment. Yeah, I kind of heard that, but like there's just so many celebrations cramped up in December. It would be nice to spread them apart. Like you already have Christmas in December, and then you have New Year's. In Romania, you also have 1st December, but that's not international, so okay. But no, like, there's just way too many celebrations cramped in December. It would be nice if you had the celebration during the summer. If you put it in summer, you would complain that it's too hot outside. Bullshit. That is not the case. The South Hemisphere is in the summer. Oh, I see. Historically speaking, the case is better for farming cultures. Yeah, probably that's why. Do I read the AOT manga? Yes, I read the Attack on Titan manga. You're sitting inside during the winter with nothing to do. Yeah, but you already have Christmas. The Romans made January the first month. Before it was March. Yeah, like it's completely arbitrary which month gets to be the first and which month gets to be the last. The year is fixed, like the amount of days, the amount of hours per day, that's fixed. But which month comes first, that's arbitrary. Blame Jesus, he was born in the wrong time. It doesn't have anything with Jesus. As I understand it, like the church decided when Jesus was actually born. Because in the Bible, it doesn't really mention, does it? Like it doesn't give you the actual date. The church decided. The Gregorian calendar is a fascinating topic. The creators figured out how adjustments would need to be made over the centuries until the end of time. Yeah, so like someone said that the Gregorian calendar is the more accurate, but like I'm pretty sure like someone probably used nanotechnology and then decided it's like, no, like we have this quantum clock, this quantum device which can measure time even more accurately, and this is the perfect calendar. Rod did nothing wrong. Historia should have listened to her dad. If Historia listened to her dad, then Marley would have destroyed the island. So it depends on which side you are on. Do you support the Marleyans or the Eldians? In hindsight, everyone was right to fear the Eldians. Like in hindsight, our the Eldian bigots did nothing wrong. Right? Anyway, thank you guys for the donations. Thank you for watching, and I'll try to go on the Flashcast, whatever that is. We'll see. I'll talk with Flash, and we're going to schedule something that's good for both of us. And yeah, thank you.